Guys, I just woke up and I have an email from the University of Edinburgh that they've made a decision on my application, and I am so, oh, my heart is pounding. I'm so nervous. I want to study at this school so bad, and I'm just, Okay, so I'm gonna go open my application, and see what the decision is. Ugh. I'm logging in. I'm accepted! I'm accepted. They're offering me admission. Oh my goodness. Hey guys, I wanted to just give you a little update on the process of beginning my master's degree at the University of Edinburgh, what I've been up to, how I've been planning for this. So I just had a meeting with a potential supervisor and we talked about my research interests and some specific research questions that I was working with, which was really fun and really cool to meet him. He's a fantastic scholar and he had tons of great tips and advice for me, so that was super cool. Because my research interests are very European and specifically Netherlandic, focused on the Netherlands and Dutch culture, Dutch literature, Dutch intellectual trends, I'm realizing that I may need to relearn that language for my master's degree, because I have studied Dutch quite a bit in the past. Because I have a Dutch background, I can't read Dutch well enough to tackle, academic scholarly sources or sources from the 17th century, because Dutch was very different back then, as were most languages. That challenge really excites me, but it adds a ton of work to my already full work schedule. So I'm at the point where I need to really think hard, or even rethink my research question and where I want to go with my dissertation. The amount of brain work that this is going to take is fantastic. I'm so excited for the challenge of writing a dissertation and narrowing down my interest into a very specific little corner of intellectual history, of European history, because there's so much out there. There's so much that happened that is just fascinating and that I'm interested in, and I would love to just study it all, bring it all together into my paper, but that's not how this level of scholarship works. I need to create a very tight, specific research question. I need to focus my research intensely, and so I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for me as somebody whose interests are so broad. And writing 15,000 words on a topic and question that is very specific and niche and probably wouldn't interest a lot of people. So just to kind of show you my initial process of brainstorming for research topics. I've made this chart here. I have my category for broad topics that I'm interested in. Then I have a category for specific research questions related to that broad topic, obviously. And then here I have some definitions of key concepts. I have some examples of literature that I could use or people that I should investigate for that research question. So I have this much so far. And then I've also started a big source list of academic sources to look into that are related to many of these topics generally, but also more specifically for some of these research questions. I wasn't the most organized person during my undergraduate degree. I would kind of just start writing an essay and just go with it and see where it would take me. And I always ended up producing some really great work. But I don't think that strategy, that method of doing scholarship is going to work for this master's degree. I am going to have to be much more organized. And so I've gotten into the habit of making these kinds of charts as I've been doing scholarly research for this professor that I'm working for currently. So I've learned a lot of really good professional research strategies and ways of doing scholarship from him, which is awesome. And I think that's going to help me out immensely as I tackle my own project here. Hey everyone, it's been several months since I filmed the first half of this video where I initially started doing a lot of brainstorming and research for my master's thesis, and in the several months that have passed I have not really come to any conclusions. I haven't done a ton of work on this because I've been so busy doing research for my professor still, working, prepping for my new job as a classical educator. There's just so much going on, and I just haven't had time to really get into my master's content. This is a struggle. I have so many ideas, and so it's hard, number one, just to pick something and go with it. Number two, every time I think I have an original research question or topic, I do a bunch of research and I find out that other scholars have already studied and examined exactly what I was hoping to study and examine, and that there's already tons of great books and papers out there on the subject. So I just keep going in circles where I think I have something, I look into it, I'm like, where am I going to go with this? It's really frustrating. And I also just have too many things that I want to look into and not enough time to look into all of them to pick out the one that I really want to do, if that makes sense. So these are some of my just broad topic ideas. Dutch university graduates and grand tours throughout Europe, Dutch literary circles, Dutch grand tour literature, Dutch university culture, Dutch print culture, Dutch diaspora literature, perceptions of Holland by European intellectuals, the underground Enlightenment, the development of libraries across Europe, the Dutch woman in Reformation literature, or the Calvinist woman in the Reformation lowlands, women's bookscapes in early modern Netherlands, popular fiction and its readership in the 17th century Netherlands, the history of the Dutch novel, the Protestant book trade in the Netherlands. I've come across so many really interesting Dutch female figures like Susanna Teelink, Anna Maria van Schuurman, but people have already written their biographies, and so that is not an option for me. I'm just struggling a little bit. So just a little update from earlier. The University of Edinburgh just published the course list for 2024-2025 for my program, so I can look at the course options that are going to be offered. I can't choose the courses yet, sadly, but I can just kind of mentally prepare myself for what I'm going to be studying this year, and they also published the book list, so I can start some reading. So here I've started to get organized. I put down my course options for semester 1 and semester 2, highlighted the ones that I'm most interested in so far, and then I've compiled a reading list of introductory level stuff and then some readings more specific to some of the courses I hope to take. And that feels like a really good start. I think what I'm struggling with is that I am thinking so much about my thesis, my big paper that I'm going to have to produce at the end of this whole thing. But that's going to be more my focus in my second year, actually, because I'm doing my master's part-time. It's going to take 2 years. So for this first year, I should be just focusing on the courses that I'm taking and really developing my historical skills so that I can write a really good thesis. I mean, obviously I need to come up with my idea, my research question. I need to submit a proposal. I need to find a supervisor. But I have lots of time for that. But I'm somebody who likes to just get on things early. I don't procrastinate. I do things early. And so I feel like I need to have everything figured out for my thesis, like right now. Like all my resources ready, I need to be doing my readings, I need to be narrowing down my thesis, I need to have a really good driving research question, I need to just know it all. And I just don't now. But I know I need to take it a little bit easier on myself right now. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back through all my topics of interest and try to compile a list of books that give overviews of the topics, and that a lot of these topics are related, so I think I can probably find some good overview type literature that'll at least get my head into the world of early modern Europe, the Netherlands, print culture, intellectual culture, and from there hopefully I can narrow down a question. Morning guys, it is July 18, and I'm finally sitting down to do some more preliminary work on my master's degree. My summer has so far been filled with lesson prepping history lectures, and literary expositions, and coming up with assignment ideas, etc. for my students. And I've still been doing research for my prof, so we've been working hard to get his book done. So I haven't had time really to commit to my own master's degree. But today I'm hoping to change that and hopefully at least read something that will give me a better sense of direction in where I should go with my thesis. So yeah, that is the plan. It's nothing too fancy, but I need to just do something. So well guys, I've spent the day working on my master's again, and I've realized that I'm basically no further than I was back when I started brainstorming in March, April. The reason I say that is because back in March, when I started compiling a list of the broad historical topics that I'm interested in, and I started coming up with research questions, since then I've done nothing but go down rabbit holes and just find new topics, new people, new places, new works of literature that I'm interested in. So I've just been going, not in circles, but just down rabbit trails all over the place, and I just cannot decide what to settle on, what to really dig my teeth into and try to come up with a really good research question and do the preliminary research. I just can't pick something. I just keep coming across more interesting characters. I'll read an article or I'll start to read a book, and by the time I'm partway through, I've already forgotten the question that was kind of guiding me into that book, because I've discovered some new person or some new historical event or something new that's just captivated me, and I'm super excited about that now, and I'm thinking about, how can I make my research question work with this instead? And so yeah, I really am no closer than I was back in March to deciding to setting in stone the topic and the research question that I want to look into for my master's thesis. I'm no closer. But I think that that's okay. I think this summer, since I'm going into my first year of teaching history and classics, I really need to focus on that, on my lesson prepping, preparing myself to teach well. I need to really know the content that I'm going to be teaching, so that has been my priority. I will be starting my first master's courses in September alongside that. For the first year of my master's, I will need to come up with my thesis proposal and settle on a topic and come up with a research question and a plan of action for that. But that is not yet. It is still the summertime. I haven't even picked out my courses yet. I'm not even officially started my master's. So it's okay to be in this exciting stage where I'm just learning as much as I can about everything in this time period and in this country. I'm just soaking in everything about Dutch intellectual history in the early modern Netherlands. I'm learning about the household academies, I'm learning about libraries, I'm learning about different influential figures, I'm learning about historiography at that time, about religious trends, about pamphlets and tracts, and the world of printing, and it's so fascinating, and I'm just going to let myself enjoy this preliminary learning stage where everything is interesting and I'm situating myself in that world. And I'll save the nitty-gritty narrowing down my research question for a later date. So that's kind of my headspace right now. Next week I am heading to the States for a classical educators conference. So that entire week I will not be doing any more master's research. I will be focusing on my teaching career and learning how to be a good classical educator. And then when I get back, it'll be back to the lesson prepping. And yeah, I don't know if I'll have any more days that I can focus on brainstorming for my master's degree this summer. That might have to wait till the school year begins and I'm in my courses. Then I'll really start thinking about things and really start narrowing things down. Yeah, c'est la vie. I wish I was more organized and more sure of what I was doing here at this point, but that's just not how life is working for me right now, and I'm just gonna make the most of it and be thankful for at least my excitement to start my master's at Edinburgh, because I truly am so excited and I can't wait to start my courses and to just submerge myself in academia once again. Anyways, that is the end of this prolonged and slightly chaotic video. I hope that in September I will be able to keep you guys better updated on my master's in history journey at the University of Edinburgh. Hopefully I can make more vlogs and more just sit down talks about what's going on and about my experience doing my master's online part-time and studying history. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys again in the next one.